Hey, you there. Thank you for watching and welcome to Forge Lines Forever. Today I have a 3v3 ladder match here on the most amazing new access map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 in the northeastern corner of the map and ending with Team 2 in the southwestern corner of the map, also known as the red team versus the blue team. So let's start with Team 1's players, starting on the eastern side of their lineup. Again, they're very packed together quite nicely. So it's going to be a very, very short introduction window. We have Hannibal playing as a Cybran. He is a 1602 rated, again in orange, the color orange. Next door to him, we have Rayla as a Cybran as well in ruby red. He is a 2176 rated, the highest rated player on Team 1. And to his north, breaking the mold for Team 1, it is the Wreck playing as an Aeon in Chevy Crimson, almost 2000 rated at 1998. So over Team 1's side of the map, they have two Cybrans and then one Aeon. No UEF and no Seraphim for Team 1. Starting off with Team 2's Western player, we have in Amethyst Purple Ferv, the Billy Nuke Ambassador himself playing as a UEF. He is a 1617 rated player. I was going to say 1612 for some reason. To his east in Stitch Blue, we have Mimics playing as a Cybran. He is a 2276 rated. He is the highest rated player on Team 2 and beats out Team 1's Rayla by exactly 100 points of rating at 2276 rated. And to his south in Royal Blue, we have the one and only Seraphim of the game. It is Thurnus Haley. He is a 1831 rated. So for Team 2's side of the map, they have the one and only UEF, the one and only Seraphim, and a Cybran. So again, all the factions are represented in the game. Team 1 has the one and only Aeon. Team 2 has the one and only UEF and Seraphim, the teams sharing the Cybran faction. And for these 6 players on the map, let's take a look at the reclaim situation. Currently sitting at, that's not a lot of mass total, 4,500. To be fair, this is a 6-player game, so it's about 800 mass, which, you know, it is a chunk, but total-wise, not super great. The majority of the reclaim is in 6 different spots. There's one there, and then 4 spots surrounding the central pond. Taking a look at the mechs locations as well. The map does make up for it a little bit more in the mechs locations for players to expand to. We'll say these ones are Team 1's, and we'll say this one is also Team 1, and that leaves Team 2's, which that means there's 3 Trimex positions on the western side, as well as quad mechs positions, and then another quad mechs in the southeast. There are still some one-off mexes dotted in between this location and all the way backward. And there is a nice grouping. I would say that's kind of a quad mex position. A little bit more spread out than I would like, but it's pretty close to one another. The players are divvying up the territory quite nicely. We see Team 1 sending 1 player westward and 1 player westward. Team 2, it's the exact opposite on the southeastern side. 2 players, the 2 players for Team 1 as well. So it's going to be the Wreck versus Ferv on that northwestern side. And then for Team 1, it's going to be Rayla and Hannibal versus Team 2's Mimics and Thurnus Haley. Again, there is the pond in the middle, so players can hide from each other. We'll see how long that lasts. Given the size of the pond, it's not too big. Maybe if cruisers are built for Team 2, because Team 1 can't build cruiser missiles, because they just don't have cruisers that have missiles on board. Maybe you can reach that mechs. I'd have to get the exact unit to be able to get the exact range on it. And if Team 1 builds some nice little torrents with the missile ships, I think they can reach maybe about here. But again, I would need the unit to be able to accurately figure out the ring of influence that those missiles can rain on their opponents. There are a couple of civilian structures, not only to capture if you ever wanted to capture the civilian structures, but there's also a group of civilian units. Looks like it's UEF structures with Cybran forces. A couple of Mantis there. There's also another couple of Mantis there as well. So there's something to grab. Very, very rarely do we even see units that can be captured in this game. I think there's one map in particular. I think it's Mad Sea, I believe, that there are a couple of Titans that you can grab. Now, again, it takes forever to capture the Titans, but at least you can get those nonetheless. So a little bit of availability for Team 1 and Team 2 to go after that. We even see that it looks like reclaiming rather than going for units. Again, getting the mass values for Team 2. So who's that? That is Mimics. He's probably trying to focus more on his own units and go for more upgrades on board. He also is Cybran, so the transfer of units would be very easy because it's Mantis and Mantis, so it's very easy there for double clicking. But first, Calm Become action has occurred between the highest rated players of the game, Rayla for Team 1 and Mimics for Team 2. Looks like Mimics went after this facility, grabbed a couple of mixes, and Rayla definitely did not like that, considering that is technically their sides of the map. Mech's location, which we always know, always, divvies up quite nicely. No one fights over anything in this game. Never. Never, ever, ever. We do see first upgrade has been started for Ferv. He named it Bigger Boomstick. Maybe we'll see the Nuke Ambassador strut his stuff with a nice little missile on board his back. Gun speed started for the wreck. He's probably going to go for range after that. That's usually the main upgrade for Aeons. I highly doubt he'll go T2 on board. I mean, maybe, but it's unlikely. There's a lot of territory to try to deal with, especially being a 1v1, so having the extra range with the advanced would be very, very nice. Still shots between these two players. Mimics drops below the green, and Rayla almost drops into the red there. Interceptors fighting over what color scheme is better. Looks like it's Cybran versus actually it's Seraphim. And there's a couple of Seraphim and Cybran forces in there. Like they were spinning too quickly to be able to really get a nice accurate reading of what units were what. We do see a couple of units inbound from Team 1. Hannibal pushing on the southern side of the map. They went in between the two commanders for Team 2. So for now, he's kind of on his lonesome with a nice little engineer. Team 1 bombers intercepting those. There is an interceptor going to slow those bombers a little bit. A couple more Mantis will be eliminated. Maybe one Team 1, maybe two Team 1 mexes will be eliminated after that. But again, early game, losing a couple of mexes, Team 1s, that's not a big deal. Granted, even later game is not a big deal. But and some mass being denied is better than no mass being denied. Upgrade is done for Ferv. Took about 2 minutes. And the upgrade for Hannibal approaching 70%. T2 started on board Ferv. He is... That's definitely a good name for it. TML Precursor is what that T2 upgrade has been nicknamed for him. And again, given the strategy of go T2 and then missile and then T3 and then Billy Nuke, I mean, it works. So nice little... slipping in the nice little changes in the naming scheme, at least for him. Lots of units here for Team 1's the wreck. He has speed and range, so fighting at the same range as Ferv. Of course, he has an advantage given he has 1,000 additional hit points and will get 2 additional 1,000, putting him up to 3. Looks like Team 1 has spotted the comm on the upgrade. I don't know if they're going to go for it or not. And there is a couple of Team 1 AA to deal with those Spectre gunship. And we do see a couple of interceptors as well. So looks like he was going to maybe go for it. He killed off the engineers, but unfortunately the upgrade does finish. So he was thinking about maybe engaging, but it isn't going to be that great of trade maybe for him. Southeastern side, we do see Mimic still pressing this quad mech position. Rayla has fallen back a little bit, and actually is continuing to fall back. Doesn't want to get sniped at any point. I had a sneeze that really wanted to come out. That's why you heard that pause for a second. I'm like, I need to sneeze, and I can't sneeze. So apologies for that. Thurnis Haley pushing on the eastern side. No gun on board. Hannibal finished with that gun. So again, a little bit of imbalance for Team 2. But again, hit points do favor him for at least the time being, given 15 additional 100 on board. In terms of T3 air, nothing yet for Team 2. Team 1, T3 air, nope, just gunships and some interceptors, no air yet. This is going to be, I think, a more heavy land map just because there's a lot of territory besides the middle of the map. That's why I circled it. Again, maybe we'll see a naval fight from Team 1. Team 2 already has Navy online. Getting some cruisers in the middle at a bare minimum will create a nice little bubble of AA. And then getting, of course, the cruisers with the missiles on board will be very, very nice for creating another additional layer of buffer. A couple of bombers raining in on Hannibal's position. Nothing too crazy, but a little bit of hit points loss does make a difference over time. The western side, we do see Ferv. He charges in, gun and T2 on board, and the wreck on... Ritter to the spot, going for that shield upgrade. Ferv not looking too hot here. He's pretty much surrounded here. Has a couple of Team 1 forces nearby. Lots of blazes in the mix, though. First star veterancy online. Overcharge kills up a couple more units. And I don't think he's going to survive much longer. This might be the first casualty of the game. He drops below 3,500. And yeah, that's going to be the first kill of the game. 2,000, 1,000, and there he goes. So the Nuke Ambassador does not build the Nuke this game just because he dies before he could build it. And now it is 13 minutes almost. Team 2 suffers the first loss, making it a 3v2 in favor of Team 1. So that's going to be a heavy benefit to Team 1 APM-wise on that side. It will probably force Mimics to maybe fall back because now he has to micro both the western side and the eastern side. So he might start thinking about he's going to go in the water. That's probably a safer bet, and then probably go this way, maybe home. Maybe just stay in the water, to be honest with you, for now. But he might even shift his entire comm this way just to deal with his inbound aggression. But again, it's going to be, doing stuff over here and then running over and doing stuff over there and then running over and doing stuff. It's going to be a lot of back and forth. And that time zooming around the map is lost actions per minute. And it's going to really hurt Team 2, at least for a little bit, until he can get under control. And then it's a little bit better in terms of longer staying APM power. But if anybody can do it, Mimics can do it. He is a 2,200, almost 23. So again, we will kind of showcase that rating prowess. We do see Hannibal now going against Thurnis. Haley's gun, now newly minted on board the comm. He did go for a nano upgrade and immediately cancels it due to the presence of Hannibal's comm. Looks like he gets out of range just barely for a brief moment. He drops below 9,000. He'll probably get up to 2-star vet before Thurnis maybe catches up with him. Actually, he probably won't. He's letting him get away, or at least he's just stopped because it's not really worth it. Oh, maybe not. Nope, he's continuing to engage. Never mind. Hannibal continues to get shot by Thurnis' comm. Team 1, this is what they can see. And this is what Team 2 can see. They know where the comm is, at least for now. No stealth on board, so no sneaking away out of visual range or omni range. Or just at radar range, I should say. If there's omni range, you're going to see him regardless. Overcharge kills up a couple more units. There's a couple of T2 units in here from Hannibal, a couple of T2 tanks. But Thurnis might be getting a nice little counter kill here for his team, dropping it to 2v2. He's dropping into the yellow and does need to be careful a little bit. But again, his opponent is almost on 2-star vet, so we'll get, again, another 10% boost in hit points will bring him up to 12,000 if he gets essentially just one more kill. We do see an Ilshia there. Overcharge kills off the Tham, and there it is. There's the 2-star vet. And now he's at 12,000 total at 7,000 currently, 9,000 currently for Thurnis. So if the comms were in closer proximity, one dies, the other one will die if they're at the threshold of shots. So traded back and back and back. Western side, we see that momentum continuing to now shift in Team 1's favor. We see T3 units now being brought to bear. They are Titans, very well equipped with dealing with a lot of spam units, as well as, of course, just, again, throwing more shots out means more damage, roughly. Granted, there's the Percy, which kind of, it's the opposite of that. But the Percy is, of course, more designed for high HP units, so you don't waste all of that damage. Thurnis is having the script being flipped on him. Now we have Varanos inbound, pushing back against him. Ilshi's online here for, though. That might be enough to force back Team 1. Once again, it's a very much a big back and forth. Time for some cast. Don't know what he's talking about with that. Probably a reference to something, some slang for something, who knows. Casting? Hey, I am casting the game, so there's that. But I don't think at this point in the game that would be a Oh, I think that's what he meant. I thought 2Ks were better than the FC, says Thurnis. And there he goes. Thurnis has been eliminated by some nice little T2 fighter bombers. Some nice little Corsairs. That's probably what he meant. Those CAS Corsairs. And that'll be a kill for Team 1. It drops to a 3v1 in favor for Team 2, leaving Mimics up to deal with all of the everything, taking a page out of Suisse's book. Mate, I had some flack. No, I just play how I enjoy it. Anyway, so we have a little bit of a conversation in chat. Western side, we do see that the wreck now underneath some firepower from Team 2. Those Titans really railing that shield down. And I don't think he's going much anywhere else. Team 1's going to get a nice little dish of revenge served cold. There it goes. Team 2 scores their first kill of the game at almost 17 minutes. And before 20 minutes, half of the players are dead, meaning it's a 2v1. Still in favor for Team 1, but that might give a little bit more trepidation for Hannibal to maybe fall back a little bit. I hate the suicide unit so much, says Thurnis. He's talking about the bugs, the fire beetles. All those Mercies are gone. 2 bad Mercies are gone. Those were really fun. Oh, he's talking about the Mercies. Okay. Like, yeah, the Mercies when they were better, definitely I do miss somewhat Mercy snipes. I don't miss the cheesiness of the Mercy snipe, but I kind of do miss the principle of the Mercy in terms of it being, you know, we're going to send a guided missile across the map and see what happens. I do kind of miss that because now it's just an AoE and it doesn't really do a lot of damage. I see it very rarely now. I see more Fire Beetles than I do Mercies, which is unfortunate. I like both, but I kind of like, I mean, I like the Fire Beetle more now than the Mercy. I do miss, again, like I said, the Mercies a little bit. We do see some Interceptors flying over top. A still decent group of forces from Hannibal. Those southeastern side. Aggression is not looking good for Team 2. We do see Mimics continuing to fall back. Definitely a smart play. Wants to make sure he's doesn't get sniped by any sort of Torp bombers from Team 1. We do see more Corsairs stacking up. We see some Swift Winds mixed in with some Interceptors. A lot of them bingo on fuel just because of how slow they're moving. And not looking good for Team 2. Again, overall, their Eco 270 to 355. I mean, it's almost 100 mass per second. We have Rayla producing roughly the same amount as Mimics, and Mimics is on triple base, and Rayla's on double base. So that's all that extra mass is going to Hannibal, and we have still more units inbound. Autumn's moving into intercept, but again, it's quality versus quantity at this point in terms of how many units are still here for Team 1 versus how many are inbound. There is actually a decent amount of Autumn's being produced per second, to be fair. So it is helping with that not great trading here for Team 2 and Team 1, but again, it's all about delaying at this point. There's mexes that are still vulnerable down here and here. Distraction, distraction, distraction. More units coming in around the pond. We have a couple of T2 units, nice little destroyer and cruiser trying to do their best to slow down the aggression, but I don't know. There's a lot of stuff dead over here for Team 2. We have a nice little air fight over the top of Rayla's forces. We even have some Corsairs just hanging out. No, that's actually a lot of them, to be fair. It's about a squadron or so. Actually, almost 2 squadrons. Shoot. That's possible. Air sniping for Team 1, and that's probably why Mimics is falling back. He only has 1 veterancy, so not a lot of hit points on board. That might be enough. That might be enough to just one-tap him, so he needs to be very, very careful. He probably got out of the water just in case Team 1 goes for Torp bombers. So, and we even see that being built over there anyways, so definitely a smart move there. Obviously, we know they're being built. He doesn't know exactly, but again, if Team 1 knew where he was, build up enough Torp bombers, go for the snipe, win the game. He's definitely thinking about what's an easy way to win for Team 1. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to let that happen. Lots of flak over top, killing off a ton of Interceptors, but they are Interceptors at this point, 20 minutes. T3 Air not online yet. Oh, it started, though, going for Seraphim Tech in Air. Sticking with Cybern for T2 gunships and maybe T1s. See some Jesters flying around. Transport inbound. It has a Harbinger inbound, I would assume. Yep. And Interceptor, not enough to stop it, at least right now. Drops the Harbinger, but it's going to run right in front of a nice little Optim. Shield is still powering up. Shield's online, but it's not going to matter that much. And that'll be the end of that Harbinger. Kills off, I think, an engineer that was just walking on by, but not really a lot of damage done by that Harbinger. Nice attempt, though. Needed to probably drop just a little bit further back and go after maybe these T2 mexes back here. Just do a little bit more damage. Another Harbinger. Looks like it was... Actually, that's a brick. Never mind. Probably walked over. Probably dropped off one or the other. Jester is just poking and prodding it to death. And eventually it will get taken out just because the sheer number of stuff shooting at it. Still, Team 1 is pushing, but they have lost a lot of the momentum. It's kind of stagnated for the most part. Similar thing on the eastern side. And it's partly because at 21 minutes... These players are more focused on getting their ecos even more ramped up. We see, again, it's 340 to 270s. They've been kind of stagnant for now. So they're getting all of those core T3 mechs upgrades. Going a little bit further out, of course, as well. Getting some T3 P-gens. Getting T3 land facilities even more pumped out. And soon to be T3 air, I would surmise. Nothing yet from Team 1, but it might not be great long term. They might see the upgrade be built. Maybe they might not be. Lots of gunships as the wreck. Talking about the T1s. They are T1s, so, I mean, it's really, really easy to deal with. Interceptors can deal with them quite nicely. They're going after the land facilities. I think they're either preventing AA units from being built or just engineers in general to be able to snipe all the mexes so that way they can't rebuild them as quickly. Definitely a smart move there. But again, Does eat a little bit of time left alive for those gunships, considering all of the interceptors flying over top. More Swift runs inbound, and they'll wipe out the remaining gunships. They are jesters, so again, very, very weak, but hey, something's better than nothing. Lots of flak units underneath these Corsairs. They are going after the Othams and the Percys mixed in. Love to see that mixture there, and some Titans, because why not? And not well, they did some damage. It does slow Team 2's movement a little bit, and again, at this point where you have the advantage for Team 1, it's 2v1. If you go for the comm suicide attempt, where you do the murder-suicide with maybe a telemazer because it's Cybran and Cybran remaining, I mean, you only have to have one player left alive to win the game, to be fair, so Team 1 would win if they went for the telemazer suicide. And especially with not really a lot of protection from Mimics, that would be an easy win, even if there was PD someone around him. Depends on how much PD, to be fair. There could be an attempt to go for that later in the game, but for now, Eco is definitely something to be focusing on in the game, at least for these two sets of players. Again, Team 1 now at 480, Team 2 at 330, so that is definitely shown. They're trying to get their Ecos to pump out more units. And again, the one benefit that Mimics has is everything that is being produced by his side of the map, which is himself. It's being directly controlled by him, which is a good and a bad thing. Good thing because it just gives him all of the resources. Bad thing is he has to then micro all of those resources. So, you know, it's a double-edged sword. And he's also power stalling. That also doesn't help. But for now, you just have to build some T3 gens and just hope that it doesn't kill him in the long term. Everybody else on Team 1 is doing fine on power. Middle of the map, decent amount more cruisers being built. Not as many destroyers. Even though they can walk on land, it's probably smart that they don't just because they're very slow. We do see some torp bombers stacking up. It's probably partly because they're trying to deal with the cruisers, which they've probably already been shooting at the cruisers and stuff, which means Team 2 is responding with more AA, and it's kind of a, you know, feedback loop. Build more bombers to deal with the cruisers, and you try to deal with the cruisers. You don't kill them all, which means Team 2 builds more cruisers. You have to build more bombers, and it's just a constant back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Southeastern side, Hannibal still on the front lines. It's still a little bit hairy to do that for now. 25 minutes almost. Most players usually retreat back to some, you know, fire base or even back to their main base. Granted, this is the 3v3 game. 2 players are dead for Team 2. 1 player is dead for Team 1. So the APM is taxed to the max for Mimic. So him not maybe focusing on Hannibal is not a terrible thing for him, because again, he's dealing with all of the everything here, all of the everything here, trying to move out this way. There's a lot of things going on around the map, so just making sure that he doesn't stay there too long, because it could be an easy kill, especially if a molecular just comes and says hi. That'll be a kill, and then it drops it to a tie game. Just something to be concerned about at a bare minimum, but for now, it's not a terrible thing, especially if he goes for at least stealth and nano. That'll give him a little bit more staying power in terms of HP and whatnot. We do see some units stacking up on the western side. That quad mech position just does not want to stay online for Team 2. Team 1 keeps poking and prodding at it. This one for Team 1, same thing, just cannot seem to stay online long term. Torp bombers are inbound again. They're targeting the cruisers. You shoot at the stuff shooting at you, and then you shoot at everything else. The only thing you got to worry about is not overcharge, but you're overkilling the units, just doing as much damage to kill off all of the hit points and not do more damage and wasting all those shots. But the AA did a very good job of, you know, continuing to move, and the bombers continuing to be shot at. And there were enough bombs dropped to be able to kill off one of them, but one for about 1.5 or 2 squadrons of bombers isn't a great trade for Team 1. Can't do that, you know, forever. The just eco will not be very, very friendly. Not wasting, but trying to kill off all that mass, because by the time those bombers are rebuilt, Team 2 could produce 2 or 3 more cruisers, and at that point, you're just fighting a losing war. It's no point. So Team 2 is probably just going to have Navy on lock for the rest of the game. Team 1 will probably just ignore it for the most part. This entire circle, plus probably a little bit more influence around it, will be entirely denied by Team 2, which is good because it gives them a little bit more pathway down the middle. Downside is, again, they're putting resources here and not putting them here or in the eco or the whatever else. So there's always a downside. There should be always a benefit to it. Just depends on what players focus on in their strategies to win the game. We do see Percy's shooting into some Harbingers here. Oh, that one actually hit the shield, so it wasn't wasted, but Team 1 has the numbers here. Harbingers and some bricks pushing back the Autumns and Percys. So we actually see all 4 different mainline T3 units right here, 2 on one team and 2 on the other. Another group of Percys escorted by a decent amount of parashields. This will help out a ton, and that'll be able to drive the remaining forces either back or drive them into the grave, one or the other. Eastern side, we saw that defense go quite well for Team 2. Again, lots of reclaim being had, and Team 2's Mimics doing a very good job at least getting that eastern half of the reclaim. Currently, the totals are sitting at Team 1 at 65,000, Team 2 at 35,000. So, again, double the players. Not necessarily double the APM, but it does help. But Team 2 should be catching up pretty shortly, especially if they can grab that about 20,000 reclaim. There's, at least I would assume, engineers en route from Team 1. But I will note that Harbingers can reclaim as well. So that is a nice little benefit of those T3 units, a unique ability of the Harbingers. Granted, the Mantis can assist with engineering tasks, just not reclaim. And if those things could have reclaim capabilities, ooh, that would be not OP, but very, very good for Cyberns. There's a reason why they're limited, because again, a lot of games with a lot of reclaim, more engineers technically that can fire back means you keep the engineers online longer, which means more mass, which means just, again, cascading effect. And Bricks mowing down some very, very slow-moving Salems. One is already dead, and maybe a couple more will make it back to their base or to the water at least. That's like turtles trying to go to the water for the first time when they're younger or whatever, and they're being picked up by falcons or whatever their predator is. And some of them do make it to the water. One of them, maybe they'll get out of range. It looks like they might get out of range. That one almost dead. Western side, again, the crash occurs between Team 1 and Team 2. Clash, not crash, but could probably use the same word for the same situation, to be honest. All these units have been dealt with, and that army is getting bigger and bigger. If Team 1 wants to deal with it, probably experimental would be the case, even though, Monkey Lord probably would kill off most of the units. Team 2 probably would still win it. Maybe a nuke under stealth, says Thurnis. Too bad. You need an Omni. I don't have UEF, says Rayla. Is there a nuke being built by Team 1? Nope. Nope. And no. Unless it's being built in a weird place. Nope, not in this base. So, Team 2, you building anything big and exciting at 29 minutes? No, 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 and no. Just, again, ladder matches tend to take a little bit more time to go for those bigger ticket items. Granted, I've seen game enders and whatnot in ladder matches before, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. It just takes a little bit longer. When you have to focus more on land units instead of ecoing or air units instead of whatever have you, it kind of drives your attention away and makes it so you're not as 100% efficient as you could have been in other situations. But switching back to the eco situation for mass per second, Team 1 at 800, Team 2 at 5. So that's a 300 mass income per second advantage. 160,000 mass more for Team 1. That's a lot of mass to be ahead. When it's late in a game, when it's an hour plus, not really a whole lot, but it's still 160,000 mass is a lot to be ahead regardless. Not enough for a game ender yet. And that lead will continue to widen that gap. Again, more mass means more units, means more upgrades, means more stuff. More stuff equals more stuff, and more stuff equals more stuff and more stuff. And eventually, you might be able to overwhelm. Granted, mass isn't the end-all, be-all of the game, but it definitely helps. A couple of Team 1 PD are going to get wiped out by Percy's. That one might... Nope, it did get sniped by Team 1, so I was going to say it probably won't die, probably will die, but it did. But look at this, though. Team 2 has done a very good job of pushing back on both the eastern side and the northern side. A little bit more noticeable on the northern side, but definitely on the eastern side, they got pushed back essentially to where those Team 1 land facilities are. So this is where they are now, and a little bit more momentum has been shifting in Team 2's direction for a little bit of time now. We do see a couple of Autumns either get dropped off or run by. I feel like possibly run by because these mixers are dead. There's another Autumn there. And they're continuing on that route. For the most part, there's no real other geographical impediments for Team 1 and Team 2. It's pretty much a flat map for the most part. Obviously, the water is kind of a thing, and there's a little bit of hills and a little bit of plateaus, but there's not that much to warrant a lot of impediments, to be fair. Easily can walk around either side, at least that western side at bare minimum. The eastern side's a little bit better to walk around. Just it's not as thin as that side near the water. The Authors have been dealt with, but another T2 Mex is gone. Again, slowly eating away. It's a lot of ground to catch up to for Team 2's Mimics. Still about 300 mass. It was closing in on 400, but now he dropped it to 300. Again, he doesn't know what the lead is, but it is a considerable lead nonetheless for Team 1. 32 minutes, 23 seconds on the clock. Nice little palindrome there. Team 1 had 2 players left, only lost the Wreck after Team 2 lost Ferv and then Thurnus Haley over here, dropping it to a 2v1 in favor of Team 1. And in terms of map control, I'm not going to say 50-50 because it's definitely fluid. The middle of the map is most definitely fluid. So I'll just say there's map control, and to some degree, we'll see how it shakes out at where the definitive lines are, because the lines aren't, I mean, they're constantly being redrawn. So we'll see if it happens. Again, thank you so much for listening to the midway cap time show thing for the game. If you haven't done so already, because why not at this point, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And I'm going to split things off because there's an attack going down on the southern side and an attack going down on the northern side. A couple of Salem's actually joining the fight this way. So we have Cybran, UEF, and Seraphim Tech mixed in, going after an Aeon and Cybran base. Southern side, it's mainly Seraphim versus Cybran. The Authors are holding, and again, something to point out, Team 1 is all losses. The further west they go, the more losses they incur. And are they going to gain territory, or are they going to do enough damage to warrant all of this loss? Team 1, again, suffering. It's the same situation with Team 2. Team 2 pushing in with what they have. The losses, again, are mounting, but Team 2 is gaining either territory or they're killing off a bunch of stuff to make it worth the investment of land units. There is a GC inbound that will wipe out the majority of these forces, especially the Salem's, if the GC decides to go southward. And it looks like the forces are going to hook back and go home. So that entire northwestern side will be wiped out for Team 1. Still, the units for Team 1 continue to push on the eastern side. Now they're getting into some PGens, some land facilities. There are a lot of sniper bots here really doing a great job of just eating away all of these hit points on the bricks. The bricks are pretty tanky, but again, eventually they will crack under the pressure. And another PGen. Actually, this one might be fine. Last unit has been dealt with. You can see the devastation wrought by Team 1, but they didn't really take out any meaningful infrastructure. A couple of T2 PGens, T2 and T3 PGens. But again, PGen's not as bad to lose for Team 2 versus, you know, Mexes and stuff like that. And versus Team 1, where they lost the base up here and Mexes along the way, and then more Mexes along the western edge. So lots of stuff being killed off for Team 1. Stuff was killed off for Team 2, but it wasn't as, I'd say, oh, did not mean to adjust that. Hopefully I don't have to readjust that later. There we go. And that is the one thing I wish they would add to the UI is presets, preset recall for the minimap. You know, when you can move it here, move it there, like what I do. Granted, it's a very niche, very, very niche thing, but hey, it would be nice to be able to like, oh, now the thing's over here, and now it's over there, and I don't have to worry about trying to line it up every single time. That would be nice. So there was an update a couple of weeks ago, a week ago, where they added a feature where if you've watched a replay, then it has a little like mark on it, which is very, very thankful, very appreciative, because that way it helps track. Like, oh, have I casted this game? I don't know. Let me check. Oh, I've watched it at least at a bare minimum. And then I usually go to the YouTube and search up descriptions for my videos. And that's how I track if I've done a replay or not, is I search the ID. And if it pops up, I go, oh, okay, already cast it. And if it does, I'm like, oh, okay, there we go. That's what I did for this video, because it looks like a cast that I've casted before, or a replay that I've casted before. I just couldn't remember, but it wasn't super old. It's about a couple weeks old, I think, max. So I was like, there's no way I cast it in the past week. So it's just one of those, sometimes the games run together and they kind of look similar. So just have to do a double tick, because the last thing I want to do is spend 45, 50 minutes doing a video and then go, I already casted this one, I have to do another one, kind of thing. GC continuing to push, and it might meet a decent amount of resistance. It looks like it is going to go home now. And again, that's a lot of mass invested into that GC. There's a lot of support units, not as many T3 Perseus though. So it might hold out, but it would take significant damage to maybe not make it worth it. There is some support inbound. And with that support, that should be enough to even the fight enough to make it, or even actually overpower the fight to make it worth it. And the GC actually decides, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to engage anyways. And he is already in the yellow. We have units inbound. And if he doesn't kill off everything here from Team 2, the Harbingers and other sniper bots will. Looks like he probably will be able to do enough damage. Lots of shields pop back online. Possible power outage for Mimics very briefly. Not that that vacuum arm is really going to help out with the situation. We even have Percy's, of course, being picked up by the GC, targeting the Harbingers and other units. Looks like that's the remainder of the mainline units, which means that'll be a win for Team 1. Again, significant loss of HP to the GC. All you got to do there is just bring it home, control K it, reclaim it, fund it into another one, because there's already one online right here. And Donut has been started by Team 1 as well. Not a lot of forces here for Team 2, so that's not going to really work out. We do see a couple of Percys going eastward, killing off Mexes. That's going to hurt a little bit of the eco, at least for Hannibal, though. A couple of Mexes for Rayla. South side of the map, lots of Team 1 spam facilities. Again, it's going to be a long slog for Team 2 to deal with this, just because there's going to be so much either Team 1 engineers or Team 1 hunters or whatever is going to be pumped out. Looks like there's a couple of T3s mixed in as well. They're going for Loyalists. Not a lot of missile tech being deployed by either team. Maybe that would have been different if Perv was still alive, to be fair. Granted, he would have gone for Billy Nuke kind of thing. But there's not as much as that as we normally see in games like this, where there's a lot of either missile launchers, maybe either stationary or mobile, or any of that stuff. We don't see a lot of that, surprisingly. Strap Bombers going after the remaining of the Percys from Team 2's Mimics. T3 Mechs almost done upgrading too. That'd be definitely sucky to lose. And the Percy is eliminated before it's able to target that Mechs. That's probably a good thing for Team 1. All that mass, all that energy, all that time wasted. And no fruits for it kind of thing. Still engagements down in the south. It's not as constant. It's, walk in a little bit, shoot a couple of things, walk back. Walk in, shoot a couple of things, walk back. And it's just kind of this back and forth, back and forth. Not really a lot of, again, sustained firepower back and forth. But again, there's a lot of breathing room for both of these teams, at least on the southern side. And again, Hannibal is going to walk back now. 40 minutes. Yeah, that's definitely worth walking back just in case. Air control. Haven't touched on air that much. Our ASF's online for Mimics. He's currently sitting at 77 with, looks like a couple. Actually, those are all interceptors, so never mind. Team 1's Rayla sitting at 72 and a couple of Swift runs, so maybe we'll say 80 just to kind of offset that count. So a little bit in favor for Team 1, but again, not by much. On the western side, the Rex pointing out the GC being absolutely eviscerated by Zooies. And again, the Bricks able to deal with the remainder of the Zooies, though. But that GC going down, that's going to hurt. But Team 1 should have enough forces nearby to get engineers over there safely to be able to reclaim that. Or just build some engineers out of facilities that they're building up there. That also works, too. So whatever floats Team 1's boat at this point. Team 2, of course, pointing out that there is no contest in Navy. They still have it. No AA over Sniper Bot, says Ferv. And that would be great. Even just Team 1 bombers would do very, very well at dealing with those nice catch by Ferv. He caught it and went, hey, you should do this thing. And Mimics may deal with that or not. Depends on what he's focused on. Southern side, a lot of the land facilities have been eliminated now. So all that spam facility nonsense is now dealt with for Team 2. Lots more Percys down here, some bricks, and a decent chunk of Sniper Bots. These Sniper Bots, even though they are hovering, they don't actually have hover, if that makes any sense. So unlike Aurora, unlike Parashields that actually have hover, the Sniper Bots, even though they do hover, do not have hover tech, if that makes sense. Because having Sniper Bots on the water would be insane advantage. Insane. It's kind of like having Sirens, the only ones that have hives in Phantom matches. That's why they give it to everybody. It's a huge advantage. And everybody would pick Siren. That'd be the end of it kind of thing. No variety, no spice of life. Donut is 2/3 of the way done, roughly. So that'll be online here shortly. And again, it only is going to take a very couple of tight turns for either team to win air. They're staying, again, rough for this same. Maybe a little bit for Team 1, maybe a little bit for Team 2. That number constantly shifts. But laser has been started for Rayla. We'll see if that works out, because 41 minutes in, again, if they snipe Mimics, there's the game right there. Team 1 wins it. But if they don't, and they don't to get out of there. It'll be a 1v1 game, and that might make the difference. So we'll see if that laser ends up going off to the comm or it goes after infrastructure. Honestly, both are valid, especially with one player remaining. You kill off a ton of infrastructure. Yeah, they have the units that are already there, but not a lot more units are going to be built, and you just punch out production. Just go, 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 and then you run them over, and then that's it. It may take a little bit longer than that, but that's the gist of the situation. Czar pointed out by Ferv says 95% done. Yep, it's done for Team 1. So first air experimental was done in the game. We've only seen a couple of lands. We've seen a couple of GCs. I do see a Megalith online for Team 2's Mimics on the western side. That's really about it. I'm surprised, given both teams have access to the cheapest land experimental in the game, the Monkey. There's not a lot of monkeys, and especially in the middle, just send some monkeys in the water, deal with the T2 land facility, push in. It's a nice little shortcut to the other side of the map instead of going all the way around. Really surprised that there's not a little more focus on that, but we'll see if Team 1 ends up doing that. Again, laser is going to be a primary focus for Team 1. How's their power? Power's fine. Definitely for teleporter, needs a lot more power than that, but at a bare minimum for now, just the lasers probably being built. Donut is inbound. There are some Corsairs and Bombers here. So that strikes me as they're going to snipe the commander one way or the other. The easiest way to do that would be to probably stack up right here where the donut is, which is being hidden by ASFs, and move it westward. There's not a lot of AA, and there's not a lot of vision. Granted, there obviously is an Omni nearby, but by the time it sees it, it might be a little too late. They know where the donut is. They're not going to know where the strats and the Corsairs are, at least at the onset of that incursion. And by the time he moves, that might be a game-winning move. But again, that's the ability to pause, think about it. You know, it's already 43 minutes in the game. Fatigue has set in, frustration, all that, especially microing 2 bases and the whatnot. So the nice little take a step back, look at the situation, overall situation that we have the benefit of doing. It's not very prevalent for when the players are actually playing the game in the midst of the things. But again, rating is a small indicator of ability to move beyond, but push past the levels of frustration and tiredness and whatever, especially if you're playing at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, which again, still insane that people do that. I don't know how you can do that. It amazes me. I can barely even do all-nighters. I mean, I get to like 27 hours and I just crash. And I can't do, 30 plus hours awake. My body's just like, no, you're going to sleep now, and I don't care what you're doing today. You're going to sleep now. So they just can't do it. So I wish I could, but I was never able. Even when I was younger, I wasn't able to do it. I just never was able to do, wake up at 8, whatever time in the morning, and then go to, 8 in the morning the next day, and then continue on for like most of the, I just can't do it. Nope. Donut is very much being a little saying, hey, come here, I have a little treat for you, as the ASFs sit right behind it. It's a nice little opening gift for Team 2, if you want to call it that. But Team 2 is like, nuh-uh, I'm not going to fall for that. You didn't say the magic word. Corsairs have been spotted by Ferv. There's one group up there. I thought there was another group over here with the... No, it looks like they split. So the Strat Bombers over there. There are some units moving southward. I don't see bombers in this mix. A couple of gunships, but no bombers. They're keeping the units separated. I don't know. Coming at 2 different vectors depending on AA coverage. Probably not the best idea. Crowding the AA is definitely a better way to do it. At least it guarantees that some units make it past the lines of anti-air. We do see a lot of units hanging around this nice little mountain hillside thingamajig. Lots of Harbingers, lots of parashields, decent amount of bricks. That GC, there's 1 Mega versus 1 GC, but there's a lot of sniper bots also mixed in there as well. It's very hard to really parse out what is what, because there's a lot of them here. Very heavily shielded. Billy Nukes would be very nice right about now. Keep pointing at that. I don't mean to give Ferv such a hard time, but it's like if he was still alive, that army would be not looking good. He'd probably be firing it from the pond, to be honest. It's a more safer location. Maybe back here, but, sometimes it's not as viable for other situations. Megalith just laying into that GC. Percy's doing the exact same thing, but again, it's only going to last so much more time. Harbingers are actually splitting. They're going around going after all of the other units around the megalith. There's more Percy's inbound. GC is dead. Crash damage may not affect him. It was almost on top of him, but nope, doesn't affect him. But still, Corsair's raining in. No strats. He's keeping the strats hidden just in case he can go after that comm. ASF's still waiting to engage. There's still more AA here, and the shield has started to take some hits. So it is not the best idea to keep that thing long term. And he might even just force the air fight anyways. And there it is, just due to the fact that the ASFs are right there. I think the shield just got disappeared immediately once the ASF showed up. Crash damage does deal damage to the megalith on the ground though. That's a little bit of niceties there. But even with the donut mixed in, you have to remember that there's AA here as well. So Team 1 just got eviscerated in the ASF department. And now there's a new megalith online, which will definitely help. There are bricks inbound. Sniper bots really helping out with the extra range, of course, on board. They need to probably fall back just a smidgen more. But the crab, noticing that that crab is falling pretty quickly, he might die in the exchange, but it'll help at a bare minimum. There's a ton of bricks here to be able to deal with all these engineers trying to produce the new crab. A couple of sniper bots going to target maybe these bricks to protect themselves. And there goes that megalith. The end of that. And that base on the eastern side not looking good. But the western side, Team 1 continuing to roll on the western side with the death of the megalith and everything else that was sitting over here. Large shift in momentum for Team 1. Now the ASFs are sitting over here. There's no gunships or anything that I've noticed yet from Team 2, so I don't know why they're really sitting there. But Team 1 isn't producing any air units yet that I've noticed in terms of experimental. The laser is online, guns online, no teleporter yet for Rayla. Just actually built it moments ago. Megalith is surrounded by a lot of Team 1s, a couple of T2s, a couple of T3s. Looks like actually the majority of that force may have just been a lot of Team 1s, because I feel like a lot of the red icons I saw are kind of just gone. Megalith is dead due to Medusa fire, and Percy's are moving in to mop up the remaining forces. But Nuke, first one of the game, is outbound from Team 1's Rayla. Nice little Apocalypse nuke launcher. Really bringing in the apocalypse here for Team 2. The SMD is loaded, unfortunately, for Team 1. Fortunately for Team 2. SML, strategic missile launcher, spam through. I mean, with a, strategic launch detected notification. That is what that is. Granted, it could also be naval nuke. Oh, two of them fired. Ooh, that's gotta hurt. Oh, he lost 2 SMD. Yeah, look at that. Ferb says, wow, yeah, lost 2 SMDs for the price of 1 regular nuke. For a YOLO, obviously that's, standard price, but I hope you got spares, says Ferb. The SMD needs to be properly fixed. There's no reason it should be looping. Especially if it's coming in at a straight angle. I would understand, because we've seen it sometimes where it makes that curve, and the missile's kind of coming in and, misses the target. It eventually does get it anyways, but it is not super great when you lose more than 1 SMD than you really needed to. It is unfortunate, but it does happen. So there is that. Looks like the megalith will stay alive a little bit longer. That's the same one that fought off the first and second one. Again, that eastern side is essentially gone. The western side still, it's again a huge back and forth. I mean, this game was over, says the rec. It's always a misclick. Don't know talking about stuff in the chat. I mean, again, but people don't know how to play. Oh, I mean, misclick. I mean, the game was over is what he's talking about. I mean, sometimes people yank victory out of the jaws of defeat, and sometimes it's people yank defeat out of the jaws of victory. I think I said that this different way twice. Sometimes stuff happens, and I get it. Hannibal on the eastern side. Megalith is in range. He does not have laser. He doesn't have cloaking. He does have a gun. Team 1 gunships are inbound. It's going to help out a little bit with the damage situation. It's going to be killed off by the Megalith anyways. But Team 2 scores another kill, and it's been a while since the first one, to be fair. Team 1 at 1 player left. Team 2 at 1 player left. So it is a 1v1 at 50 minutes, almost on the dot. And it is now Mimics versus Rayla. And Teleporter has been started with the extra base now under his control. He's able to fund that Teleporter a little bit better. He's still negative on power, to be fair, but he's almost done with the upgrade, so it shouldn't be that way that much longer. Second nuke is almost loaded. Does have a Megalith. Not Megalith. He has a nice little GC inbound to deal with the Megalith inbound from Team 2, which is at 5-star vet, 93,000 mass killed. The thing almost died, to be fair, but hung on to life just barely. And look at this just switch for Team 2. When it was, 2 players were dead for Team 2 and Team 1 still had all 3 of them. We had, Red was about to hear. Red was about to hear. He was operating on a small portion of the map, and he's really turned that quite nicely into his favor. And that teleporter might be the last hope for Team 1. They don't know where the comm is. They do have a nice little eye. They're looking for him now. Look at this. They're constantly switching locations trying to find him. Nope. I would check other locations. They've already checked that location. Let's see how long it takes him to find him. He's right there where I've circled, so we'll see. Nope. No, he's closing in. Nope. Still not yet. Western side, Monkey Lord still prowling around. And eastern side, that Megalith still being annoying, and that's falling back. Nope, still haven't. Oh, there he goes. He found him. Oh, no. needs to go back on the comm and make sure they spot him. Looks like he stopped spamming the change of location, so they know where he is. Team 2, I don't think they ever crossed 1,000 mass per second. Team 1 has dropped below 1,000 mass at 900. And Rayla is powering up that teleportation drive. Yep, there it is. Going straight in for the comm. Team 1 PD being built right now. They know the teleportation is inbound. It's going to be close. The only thing is what way is she what way they're facing? They're facing this way. I think that does have an effect on the whole turning thing. Because that means needs to move the engineers out of range. Yep. And yeah, is facing the same way, so turned very briefly. There's a lot of T2 shielding here, and that is it. He did drop him into the yellow, but because of all of the additional shielding nearby, it was enough time to save him. The PD came in. I think there were gunships there as well. Maybe it was just T1 PD. That's it. There was more PD being built than what I initially saw, but 52 minutes, 32 seconds on the clock. Team 2 wins it due to killing off the last remaining player of Team 1 with PD from a Telemazer. Well, Telemazer came in and they killed off with PD. Obviously, MVP goes to the last remaining player of the game, being Mimics. There were definite moments that he was really struggling, and Team 1, at least on paper, could have won. But it just goes to show that you hold out, you don't quit, at least at that point, and you don't. It's not over till the fat lady sings. So that is the game here. In terms of MVP, maybe for Team 1 if they won, Rayla, definitely. The nuke wasn't super, super great, but there was another nuke loaded, and there was an SMD there, so the nuke would not have worked anyways. It was actually the only SMD online, so maybe it would have been better off to target T3 land over here, maybe go after... Actually, that's like the only target realistically to go after. They had an eye online, so they knew pretty much what Team 1 was up to for the most part. There are strat bombers here from Team 2, so that could have helped killing off the comm. I didn't see the strat bombers go in from Team 1's Rayla because we saw them built up over here and they kind of just sat there for a while, so it's kind of a missed opportunity there. But, sometimes hindsight, 2020 and whatnot. But again, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it if you haven't, because why not at this point? Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you have a replay you want me to check out, send it to me, strategiclaunchreplays@gmail.com. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I'll see all of you in the next one.